Hey everybody, welcome to Maya 2024 intro video. I just loaded Maya. I loaded it a few times so it's going to load faster than it will for you on the first try. This is kind of a video for people who are brand new to Maya and have never opened it before. For starters, Maya is way bigger than it can be covered in 20 minutes, and there's lots of good information if you just search for it on the internet, so I'm going to encourage people to do that in this video. There's this learning button. You can click on Maya tutorials and it'll take you to a YouTube channel with some good stuff. Intro to Maya, like it's a bunch of learning things. You might get lost here, but at least it'll give you a 2-minute kind of this is the user interface experience. I also recommend this guy, Maya Basic Skills. This is an interactive tutorial. It kind of feels like a video game using Maya's user interface, but Maya's not like as good as most video games. Like the user interface, I don't think is solid as like Unreal's user interface, for example. It's just Maya's a very powerful software, so you just have to kind of get used to how it works. This is called the home screen. I usually never ever use this, so I'll just click turn off home screen. Some people use it. You can see recent files, open new things. I'm just going to go to Maya. So next time I open Maya, it's going to take me right here, and I'll just open a brand new Maya kind of deal. Um, Quick little tour. This is a time slider on the bottom. These are frame numbers. So if you're an animator, you want to pay attention to this stuff. We'll get into that more in detail later. You will see on the screen my button clicks, just FYI. This middle viewport here is called viewport. So the first time I open up any 3D software, I go like, how do I move the camera around and manipulate stuff in the world? Maya is you just sort of hold Alt and use the mouse keys, left, right, and middle mouse. So it's recommended to have a mouse that has left, right, and middle mouse. You can see on the screen which things I'm clicking on, and I'm holding Alt. So you basically hold Alt all the time if you're just trying to pan around, rotate around objects, and zoom in and zoom out. Always, every time I open something, I just go, okay, let me just get used to moving this around. And then the number two thing I always do is go, how do I make new things, like a sphere? Surfaces, I can make a sphere, although I never use surfaces in production. Get curves. These make little circle things. These are fun to mess with. They don't render though. It's called a NURBS curve. Polygons. This is what I usually click on when I'm making stuff. Go here, duplicate, Control D. It's the same in most programs. Duplicate is Control D. I can just make a few spheres. Look around. F to frame. Bam, we're like moving. S to keyframe if you're an animator and you want to set a key. 60. I didn't click. I moved it. Then click S. Yeah. Move it again. Press S. I'm an animator, so that's usually anytime I open software, like if I'm learning Blender for the first time, that's what I want to figure out how to do. Make sure I'm like comfortable figuring that out, like figuring out how do I frame, how do I rotate, how do I duplicate, how do I keyframe. Animating complex characters should come later after you're really comfortable doing all this stuff. Anyway, to back up a little bit, how do we find that help information if you forget? You're like, how do I get back there? You can go into help, Maya help F1 hotkey. That should bring up all this good stuff. Arnold getting started is here, animation information. Time editor, like your friends might go, oh, why don't you try using the time editor to do this thing? And then you go, what is a time editor? And you can go here and look it up, and it has all this cool information on how the time editor works. And then getting started, you probably want to spend some time looking through this stuff and reading things. Also, YouTube Learning Channel. This is the same stuff we saw earlier with the learning videos, and it's got this section Maya 101. That's all the learning stuff. I think it linked to the second video and that other intro thing. Most of these are pretty short, 3 minutes, 4 minutes. So it's nice to have these like small chunks of information that you can just absorb and practice. So you don't have to like take in everything at the same time because it gets kind of intimidating. Um, there's all kinds of stuff with the user interface we can get into, but that's sort of more or less the basics of getting started in Maya. I think that's it. I'll just keep going on the user interface a little bit more while we're at it. So these are the tabs. You saw these earlier. This is just a quick way to add items into Maya and just to run functions. This is one of my favorite ones, Motion Trail. So I can grab the thing with some keys. I can turn that on. And I can see the trail that that object took. I'm going to get rid of that. This window that you'll see at startup is called the outliner, and it's just a list of everything in the file. So bigger files will have lots and lots of stuff in here and different filters you can do to filter out different items. Like one file can have millions of things in it, so you gotta figure out how to navigate it. These are all spheres. You can do stuff like double click, all pretty standard stuff. Call it whatever. Start, whatever. 137 or whatever. Anyway, that's how you name that stuff. Viewport navigation, you always is a good starting place. So looks like it defaults to this view. If you click this quad view, was the default to a lot of 3D applications and still is depending on what you're opening. This is top, front, side, and perspective. So sometimes when you're moving this around, it's hard to understand how you're moving it. Because if I grab this middle square, I'm moving it on the active plane for that square. So it's a bit, so if I move this green thing, it moves on these two keys on X and Y. If you've done any kind of math, grid, graphing work, this makes this process of learning how this works easier. You can see as I'm rotating, you see down here, there's a little XYZ coordinate system that sort of matches what I'm doing. So I can see like if I grab Y and move it around, you just see the Y moving here and you see it moving through space. You can click the Y here and just middle mouse drag in the viewport to see it move. That's a different way to manipulate things in Maya. There's like 10 ways to do every single thing in Maya, so it's always good to explore, learn some stuff, and go work on something, and then come back and learn a new trick, and go work on learning new techniques. Where was I at? So that's outliner. This will get more complicated, but this is just you can select the object here, grab it, select it here. The channel box is showing the data for that specific object. So this object is at this location in the world. Maya defaults to centimeters. So you can go like this. This object is 1 centimeter, X for, just some, let me just put these numbers in for easy. X1, Y5, Z4, that's the location of the object. You can scale the object up, and then the scale starts to kick in. See these numbers, reset it back to 1. 0 is invisible because you won't see it. This kind of stuff. 100 will be gigantic. So the scale gets kind of confusing in 3D. Hit F. Now I've got this huge sphere and these tiny little baby spheres. This will happen a lot as you're working and you'll just get kind of lost and go, where did that thing go? That's where this outliner comes in handy and you can just grab the objects, press F, maybe grab one object, grab two objects. It'll frame whatever is selected. And you go, oh man, I must have scaled this up really big on accident. But now it's like off in the nether regions. It's like some mystery location. If I have nothing selected and press F, it frames everything in the scene. But now you can see because the sphere's out here, it's no longer like centered in this nice viewport area. You can zero this out, hit F, just frame that, or just select nothing, hit F. If you used other 3D programs like Unreal or Blender, a lot of these processes are very, very similar. So if this is the first time at it, you struggle through it for a while, but it'll become second nature pretty quickly. All right. I think that's all the main stuff I wanted to cover. I mentioned the time slider at the start of the video, outliner, viewport, channel box, all the major stuff. Oh yeah, Q, W, E, R. So those are keys. You can see me typing in Q, W, E, R. And then these buttons over here, Q, W, E, R. Select, move, rotate, scale. Q, W, E, R. They're all right next to each other on the keyboard, so your hand can kind of, as you're working, sit by Q, W, E, R, and then S is right below W, so you don't have to look at the keyboard. You can just, if you're moving stuff around, you just know after a while you can rotate, move, scale, select. If you don't want to accidentally move stuff, that's what Q is for. W is for moving things, and scale. So a lot of times I'm just doing move and rotate as an animator. You don't do a lot of scaling, but this is a fun exercise to just get comfortable moving stuff around in your scene to look cool. And you can build whatever. You could build a space scene, a city scene, just have fun and just make something. Polygon. You can play around with all these other buttons, all these objects types, and just start having fun. Maya's a cool tool to use. Can scale multiple axes. If you want to make a building, do this. Could use this grid as a ground plane. Maybe these are just floating planet things. Duplicate. Short building. You don't have to get too complicated. Maya can get very, very complicated, very fast, but it's always good to just master the basics of just can I make simple shapes and create a thing. That would be the basics. Just get good at it. And just do it until like you personally feel comfortable. Like if you did it one day and you got pretty comfortable, do it again 2 days later and then do it a week later. Just so you have a nice like ingrained how to do this thing kind of built in so you can just jump on and start messing with more complex stuff pretty quickly. Making a snowman. So I'm just doing Control D and just translating. Oh yeah. There's my snowman. He's gonna attack the town. Alright, that's it. I'm done with my intro. See everybody later. Bye bye.